How's it going? Today I'll be going over my thoughts on the f4e and how I play it as of update Fire and Ice. A bit of history on this jet in the game. The f4e was added to War Thunder in early 2020 and was one of the first jets to carry 2nd gen infrared missiles and countermeasures. The meta was basically f4e versus MiG-21 SMT or MF, which were limited in payload and without flares at the time. The R-60 then was a decent missile, but it wasn't what it was today, and in my opinion the f4e was top dog of ARV for about an entire year. I even bought a talisman for it. Even though I don't fly it much anymore, and we'll get into why, it still has a spot in my heart as a Hall of Fame jet. For better or for worse, it paved the way for modern top-tier gameplay and was the first taste of true 3rd gen power that most of us had. Taking a look at loadouts, the f4e can carry 4 AIM-9J Sidewinders, and you should always take them with you. The station these sit on are specific to the Sidewinder and cannot be replaced by bombs, so you have no reason not to take them with you. The AIM-9J is a 20G overload, rear aspect, 2.5 Mach 40-second flight time missile. This means it's kind of a lacking top-tier missile where it seems everything is 30G plus or all aspect or both, but it will get the job done if you set up your shots right. You can also take 4 AIM-7E2 dogfight Sparrows, which becomes a much more tricky discussion. Things to note here, this missile is absolutely massive and heavy, specifically 190 kilograms compared to the Sidewinder's 70 kilograms. Keeping them on the rails will increase your plane's weight and will slightly hurt your agility performance. The f4e does not get a pulse Doppler radar, unlike almost everything else at top tier, so these missiles are limited by the radar's ability to maintain a lock at certain angles. This limits your opportunity for a missile shot in game, and in turn means you will likely use less Sparrow missiles than a comparable aircraft with pulse Doppler like the f4J. The bottom line is, I would recommend starting off with only 2 of these in your loadout and adding or removing one as you see fit relative to how often you need them or don't need them. Depending on your taste in gameplay, the f4e can also carry 17 750-pound bombs, along with a full missile load. Turns out I was wrong in my previous video about bomb tonnage. It actually only takes 7 750-pound bombs to pop a base at top tier. This means you can collect nearly 2.5 bases with this load, and wow, is it an effective bomb truck. Fully loaded, you can still punch through Mach 1, use your bombing computer to strike accurately and flare enemy missiles all at the same time. For achieving maximum RP with a talisman, the addition of bombs to my loadout has been the most effective way to start a match with a bag of points. The internal Vulcan cannon means you don't need to carry a gun pod. As fun as the 4 Vulcan setup is, you will struggle to do anything with all that weight. Those stations are much better used for bombs or for nothing at all. Moving on to strengths and weaknesses, the f4e has strong engines and an upgraded airframe to give it a performance boost over the older f4c. It will still pull AOA like crazy, and you will still be able to point the Vulcan where you want it, to a point. The trade-off of high AOA is speed bleed, and once you're slow you're dead, so don't abuse it too hard. Another strength of this plane is the ability to carry flares. Also, unlike the f4c before it, when the f4e is in bomb truck mode, it can defend against missile attacks and can much more regularly strike a bomb target, yielding you more RP. Flares are an absolute necessity for top tier survivability, and any jet without them is a big no-go from me. The greatest weakness of the f4e is certainly its AN/APQ-120 radar set. This radar doesn't have pulse Doppler and doesn't stand up to most other radars at top tier, and you will be out BVR'd by most of your opponents. This plane will teach you to notch a radar because it's all you can do in a BVR situation to try to reel in the enemy. Relatively close range, higher altitude, or upward pitching shots are where this radar works best, and are the kind of situations you want to try to put yourself in when attempting to kill with a Sparrow. So how about the playstyle for this jet? At 11.0, planes like the J-37 Viggen and J-7E can outperform the f4e in pretty much all areas. Not to mention, at a battle rating of 11.0, you'll be playing 11.3 every single match. This jet is by no means meta anymore. But the f4e can still do it all. It's the jack of all trades and the master of none. It can carry every type of weapon and can carry lots of them. It can turn fight, it can accelerate and hit high speeds, and it can flare and chaff incoming missiles. And there are other top tier planes that can beat it at all of that. So what can you do? This plane is honestly a great trainer for top tier and will teach you how to play opportunistically. This isn't a furball champion, and there's no thrills like outstanding rate fighting in the Tomcat or all aspect missiles in the MiG-23. You have to read the match and play your cards right to end up on top. The mindset I have found success with for playing the f4e is to stay behind your more capable allies like Tomcats and let them take the merge, then pick out enemies that are distracted by your teammates and dish them a missile. It seems that a medium-high altitude of 10 to 15,000 feet works best for me, allowing me to use my sparrows first and reduce my weight. Be wary of prolonged turn fighting almost anything at top tier, and be sure to have the energy advantage going into the fight if you're going to do it. Speed is life at top tier, and this is especially true for the f4e because it doesn't have any tricks up its sleeve once that speed is gone. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The current place for this plane in the game is as a bomb truck grinder. It's an outstanding support fighter, and it's really just kind of an introductory plane to top tier for new players. So yeah, that's my thoughts. See you around.